the right hardware and other elements set up in your environment. Once you've decided what your options are for upgrading those ESXi hosts, and you've actually gone about upgrading them, you've got two steps left. One of which is to reapply the host licenses. That's a fairly trivial process. And then the next is to upgrade the virtual machines and or the virtual appliances. Remember that the virtual machines have a virtual machine hardware version and also a VMware tools version that need to be upgraded. As both of these things need to be upgraded. And I'll show you two ways in which you can accomplish this, or one way that you can accomplish this for both of those elements using the vSphere Update Manager. So with this in mind, let's actually go back to our server here, the same server throughout this entire series, and we're taking a look at our cluster. We've got our 3 hosts there and our virtual machines. And I want to go back to actually the Update Manager tool that we had worked with before when we were talking about adding patches and things to virtual machines. Now, I've put over here the ESXi Images tab that we actually glossed over back in that earlier nugget. And as you can see here, I've actually already imported in an ESXi image. Now, this is just the base image. I mean, there's nothing really interesting to see here. I've created here a baseline called Our Golden ESXi Image. So I have essentially downloaded this off of VMware's website. I have imported this in using the Import ESXi Image wizard screen here, and then ultimately created a baseline out of this image. Now, what's interesting about this image is that when it comes time for you to actually deploy this, you can actually deploy ESXi very similar to how you would go about deploying really any image that's out there. If you take a look over here on baselines and groups, you see that our golden ESXi image has actually been created and can be potentially tagged to a machine, a host that we have, so that when it comes time for its next remediation cycle, it'll actually go about installing what this ESXi image is. In fact, let me go back over here to Inventory and Hosts and Clusters, and we'll take a look at one of the hosts here. You'll see that against one of these hosts, the Update Manager tab, I have the ability, just like before, to attach another baseline to this host to have it make sure that it corresponds to the baseline. Now, these hosts are the same version as the version of ESXi that I'm attempting to install here, so I'm going to maintain the baseline. But as you can see here, if I click the Attach button, I have available to me an upgrade baseline here called Our Golden ESXi Image, which is that host upgrade. If I attach this, you'll notice that, well, this computer is currently compliant to this image. Now, if it weren't compliant to this image, the next process or the next time that it goes through that remediation process, perhaps automatically, or if I right-clicked and then chose to remediate this server, it would actually go about installing this image and upgrading this machine to ESXi version 5. Now, what's great about this solution is the fact that because you are leveraging your Update Manager infrastructure, all of the configuration items that you've set here in terms of your host and cluster settings and the download settings and the notification check schedule, and all of that stuff which has already been configured for your environment, the upgrade process will actually respect these settings so that the upgrade goes by more or less seamlessly. So really, really, really intelligent way for doing this whole upgrade of your environment from version 4 to version 5 or previous versions. And all of it is really predicated around having that vSphere client that's out there and upgraded to the right version first.